Let me tell you what we got going on here. I already had this entire front deck all put together and ready to roll, and I hadn't put the finished aluminum on top of it. And then I started thinking I really wanted a built-in live well up here. I was going to build it and then put a smaller live well in, one that would just fit barely through the door. And then I started thinking I'd rather have a little bit bigger live well. That way if I wanted to keep striper or something like that, I could have one up here in the bow, or a bigger live well for whatever I want to put in there if I want to keep them alive. So I decided to change up the game plan and weld me up an aluminum tank. I'm not the best aluminum welder, I'll tell you that right. It's not pretty. It's strong, but it ain't pretty. But here's what we got. I built this tank right here. This tank here is about 24 by 25, and it's going to be perfect for what I'm going to use it for. It's going to drop right down inside there. What I've done was I welded some tabs on the sides of it to where I can screw it to the floor. That way it's nice and solid. It's got a 3/4 inch bait well plug drilled into it right here and welded into it. That way I can pull the plug and drain it, and I can use a standard bait well or live well plug. So that's going to make it nice. And I'm going to go ahead and put an 1.5 inch overflow right here. And that way the water can drain into the boat, hit a pipe, and go all the way to the back. Same way with this. It's going to actually come down, catch this, and then go to the rear of the boat and then go into the lake. That way this tank's going to be a self-bailer. That way I can actually turn the pump on, let it fill it up, and then when I want to add fresh water, I can add fresh water without having to pull the plug, and it's just going to run over the top. Or I can just turn the pump on and leave it on, and hopefully this overflow will be big enough that it won't overflow, essentially. If it does get a little bit too much water to where it doesn't drain as quick as it comes in, all I'll do is I'll just change the spray bar, put a little bit tighter spray on it to where it's not pumping quite as much water, and I'll finally tune it in to where it drains out as fast as it comes in. Alright, so here's what we got. I got this thing made where right up underneath here. Sorry for how loud this is, but it's an aluminum tank. I got it built where it's nice and tight, and I've got it made where when it's in, it goes right against the factory rib, and I'll bolt it down. That gives me plenty of room on this side to hook up the plumbing to get the water to the back. I think it's going to turn out being a nice little tank here. Alright, we're ready to go and get this thing drilled in. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put a through hole right here, one of the bigger ones. That way the water can overflow out of here and go into a flex pipe, and then I'll have a hard pipe running down through here going all the way to the back of the boat. I'll put a nipple on the side of the solid pipe to go to this. That way you pull the plug and drain it, or you can use it as a constant flow and water run this way. I'll do a video later showing you how I got this all plumbed up. But right now we're just going to go and get the holes drilled in it. I'm going to put the spray bar probably right here, or the hole for the spray bar, and I'll run the spray bar down this side right here, spraying down in the tank. We can do that at a later date. I can drill that one from the inside with no problem. This one's just going to be a little harder. This mark is the bottom of the rib that I'm going to be up underneath, so I got to keep it down low enough that I don't interfere with that. But let's go and get that hole drilled. Alright, you can see this is the right size for that. One way you can pick which size you need is use the actual nut. And if you look, most of them have a little bit of a flange on them, and that should be about right. I like it to be nice and tight because I do have a bit that I can open the hole up a little bit if I need to. So we'll go and get this thing drilled. There we go. Perfect. We'll run this thing like this. Alright, we got the hole drilled. Got it mounted. Got everything set up. I went ahead and cut this off a little bit to make it a little bit shorter. That way it gives me a little bit more room to go ahead and hook the pipe to it. All the holes are drilled and everything to mount it. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing in there, go ahead and get it mounted. And like I say, once I get ready to plumb it, I'll put a video up of me plumbing it. perfect. Now I'll go ahead and get the screws and go ahead and get it screwed down. I'm putting it down with stainless steel screws. I've already pre-drilled the lugs here. Here we go. She's all tight and put in. As you can see, everything's bolted down. I'll bring that out, bring the plumbing up to this one right here. But we'll have a video of all that being hooked up a little later down the line. Alright, well, we're back at it again. It's time for me to go ahead and put all this back together. Like I said, I had it all put together at one time and decided to add this tank, so we had to go back, reinvent the wheel a little bit, but I think we got it figured out. I went ahead and temporaried this piece back in because that was one of the ones I already had fitted. So I got it temporaried back in, make sure everything works and everything fits the way it's supposed to, plus that goes ahead and lines all this up. Before, this was in here like this, and that made the other framework for the door to set on. Since I changed everything, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, it's like a Z-channel. This is some scrap I had laying around, but it's actually 1/8" aluminum. You can see how it's shaped like a Z. But it'll work perfect to go right up underneath here and right up underneath here, and that'll make my new track for this door to set on top of. Plus, that'll give me a little extra strength because this is really rigid, and it'll give me a lot of strength right here in the front. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get this cut to length, go ahead and get it pop riveted in, get it drilled in, and we'll add around this. Let's go ahead and get this put back together. That way I can get this deck finished. I'm ready to get this boat done. Alright, we got our piece cut to length. And we got to do is get it put in there. Nice snug fit. It'll serve two purposes. It'll help hold this tank down nice and firm. Plus it'll give me a nice seal around the tank. We're going to get this thing pop riveted in. Since I'm putting rivets through the top of this into my tank, I'm using solid rivets. That way it'll be a watertight seal. And besides that, I think they're just cool. I like using them when I'm making anything for a boat. Anything that I can get to both sides of it, I like to use them. That ain't going nowhere. Got it just temporaried up. Kicked my rivet tray out. Got it just temporaried up right now. I'm going to go ahead and put a couple more rivets through here. Now I got it all fitted. Put these three in. Like I say, it just looks professional when you do that. Awesome. That ain't going nowhere. there we go. There's the solid rivets. Just gives you a nice professional look, and that's a watertight seal. You can see. And I promise you, them ain't never coming out. Alright, now that we got that all solid riveted in, you can see how nice and professional that looks. Plus, I don't have that tag sticking way down below it like you do normally with a pop rivet. Pop rivet, you should leave something stick down below it, but not that much. With these, literally, I'm sticking down 1/8 of an inch at most on all of them. And the connection you get with these is 10 times stronger than a pop rivet, and you don't move it. But, alright, now we got that done. You can see everything fits good. The lid sets on the rim all the way around it. And what I'm going to do before I finish everything up, now I've got a nice tight seal all the way around this part. I've got a nice tight seal all the way across the back here because it's up against that rib. The only place I got anywhere that water can get over is right here in the front because I left about 1/4 of an inch between the tank and the front bulkhead. So what I'll probably do is I'll either put a piece of this PVC material here in the back, and then when I get done, then I'll seal everything in. Once I seal everything in, we're good to go. Water can splash all at once, and it's going to hit this right here, and it's going to turn it and make it go right back down in the tank. And like I say, if I do get a lot of water, what I'll do is I'll put a gasket around the inside of this that sticks down about 1/2 an inch. That way when the water splashes, it'll flip it and push it right back down inside the tank. But I don't think it's going to be a problem. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take this off and finish putting all the pop rivets back in this front deck, and that way the front deck's done. Then I'm going to put everything back together. Alright, we went in and put the deck back on it. Now you can see what we actually got. It's going to be a real nice live well. That thing is very, very, very solid. Like I said, the only thing that's left to do is just seal around this perimeter right here. And once I get that done, we're finished with it. We'll do the plumbing and everything at a later date. Well, here we go. I went ahead and put everything back in that I took apart. Front deck's essentially done. Live well worked out real, real nice. As you can see from these up here, everything's going to look real good when it's all done. Nice and solid. Or to make for a nice fishing deck. Like I said, I'm going to put a seat somewhere about right here. That way I'll have plenty of places to sit, plenty of room to fish, and have a nice live well back here in the back. It turned out pretty good. I'll go ahead and get all the aluminum done on this thing, and then once all the aluminum's done, I'll go ahead and you can see how I made it. I'm going to have it where this one section can come out, since that's where all my plumbing's hooked up at. So I'm going to go ahead and get everything done, get it all finished up, get all the edging on. Then I'll take this one panel off with the door, off in one piece, go ahead and hook up all my plumbing. But that'll be for a later video. I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions or comments about this build, feel free to leave them. I'll try to answer the questions as soon as I can. Thank you very much.